We're about to head into game number 2 of the e-commerce war, Sinning taking on JD. And as all the past few matches have gone, Raz, it looks like JD could potentially try and pick up another victory here against Sinning and win the war once again.
Feels sad. Feels sad. Just happens too often. You want the story in which person who's getting beat down starts to grow and overtakes the demon. The demon!
Demon?
Yes. Have you seen the horns on JD's logo? They're the demons.
Ah.
And the G-Min just keeps rolling. So yeah, Sinning Gaming needs to take 2 games to be able to take this series back. It's going to be rough.
Let's see if they can, because as FLICKR has described this team, it's a jelly bean version of Harry Potter that's been set on fire.
What?
You were the one that recorded her doing that on the podcast.
JD looks like a jelly
Not
bean?
JD, Sinning.
That's not it. She said gummy bear.
Gummy bear, that's
A
right.
gummy bear is an actual bear. A jelly bean is just a round substance. I don't know what jelly beans you eat.
You're not wrong, to be honest. You're not wrong. Let's see if the Harry Potter gummy bears can take this one back against the devils that Raz has coined JDS now. But if history is to repeat itself, JD should be able to pick up a victory in this best of 3. And the same thing happened just before the spring playoffs last split. Sinning was set to try and take the one. It was in their hands to move into the playoffs, and JD upset them.
And ultimately, it comes down to a game of styles clashing. Sinning Gaming love their early games. Try to end it before they get to team fighting, because team fighting isn't as strong as Suit. In fact, the last 2 splits, when it comes to team fighting, whenever they got into the 30-minute mark, the goal lead starts dripping. It starts leaking all over the place. It's not a pretty sight, Fish. And it's usually JD, a team that looks towards late game team fighting, that picks that up.
Yep.
So Sinning Gaming need to get a little bit better. In fact, it looks like Sinning Gaming are looking towards their mid-game fights.
Yeah, trying to make it a lot faster with Nocturne being picked up as their first pick. Their bans were Zoe, 100% banned by Sinning, always their first ban as well. Camille as well as Lucian. With Talia, Swain and Vladimir being banned out by JD. Graves their first pick. Could be a funnel comp for JD.
Yeah, and you would expect it to be so. Remember, these compositions are inherently risky, but the fact that they're 1 game ahead means that they can actually run it with just the buffer zone of that best of 3.
Well, we don't know if JD are going to run a funnel comp just because they lock in Rakan. That should be Lumal's supportive choice. But why are these funnel compositions risky, Raz?
The ultimate risk, and remember in week 1, a lot of teams are still learning how to play it. Limited scrim times mean that it's very weird to kind of roll with multiple melee champions with the Graves as the exclusion. And also, it requires you to leave lane so frequently that you can get caught out in skirmishes with jungle, mid lane, and a support. And that's what happened a lot of times. In fact, one of the earlier losses that JD had were with these funnel compositions. So if they're running it, then they would have to be confident within their own practice time that they've refined that.
They were running Mordekaiser Shyvana. Very early adaptation of funnel compositions, but we've seen a lot of adaptations from different teams since. Jax as well as Shen were the last 2 picks in the first draft phase for Sinning, whereas JD lock in the Lover's Lane in the bottom lane. Zaya as well as Rakan for Loken and Lumal.
Yeah, wow, is my immediate reaction. I expected the Shen to come through just because Shen, the Shen Nocturne combination has just been utilized and abused globally. That's not a surprise. I expected Yoon to be picking it up just because Yoon is a Shen player, and you would expect Xiao Ao to not want to pick up Shen because that would really limit him towards a tank role. So, also picking up the Jax, showing that they just want to, they don't give a damn what happens in second phase of banning. They don't care that they've just showcased who's the support and who's the top lane. So they're just throwing that all out there.
Still, it's an Aatrox ban coming out from JD. Sinning going to attack Zoom's champion pool. Zoom has been primarily picking up tanks to the top lane, where Xiao Ao has shown he can play a bit of both styles of champions. Even Darius being taken away as well, so JD think that Sinning are going to go for quite a few bruises in their composition.
Now, the one thing I will say is that an Aurelia is still open. Yagao can still play it. They have first pick in second phase, so they can essentially pick up the Aurelia and say that there's no bruiser coming through in the mid lane that can deal with it.
Maybe.
So that is an option. There's no way that I look at what Sinning Gaming have for themselves and say that that's not a Jax top lane. since the Nocturne's here and the Shen's here. Maybe if it's Vedius, then that's a Nocturne mid lane. I would appreciate that.
Please don't.
Putting that out there.
Well, we'll have to see where City decides to throw their Nocturne, because I think the jungle is most likely where it's going to be. Raz, final bait coming up from City was Dr. Mundo. Lulu gets locked in for JD, so Yakao going towards a support-based champion.
That's interesting. So, I wonder how they're going to utilize the Lulu. Essentially, when it comes to late game team fighting, Jingdong are going to be incredibly comfortable with the fact that they have Lulu ulti for 2 carries, the Xayah, who's going to be a crit-based AD carry, of course, and the Graves. So it's going to be a lot of supports here for their 2 range carries.
I mean, towards the end of Spring Split, Loken was stepping up to be a hyper carry himself. He was the late game insurance for JD. Picking up the Xayah does scale pretty well into the late game, but Suning have picked up a full melee composition, with Irelia as well as Singe being picked up as their final 2 picks.
Now the Irelia was an easy one. I actually was surprised that Jingdong didn't pick Irelia for themselves just because of the 2 bans of Aatrox and Darius. So you're feeling pretty comfortable as Fen to pick the Irelia for himself.
Whereas Luma picks up his most played champion. I was wrong when I said he normally plays tanks. Looking at the wrong thing. He's played Gangplank 4 times. This is going to be his 5th pick of the champion in Summer Split, going up against Singe, being played by Xiao Ao.
And let me tell you how much I hate GP. So, GP, theoretically still good because the lane matchups are phenomenal. You have so many melee champions running up in the top lane that Zoom should feel comfortable in farming and dealing damage with his barrels versus a Singe. Only issue is that GP takes the most gold of top laners to feel useful. So 30 minutes into the game, he's going to be feeling comfortable in team fights, but that's going to be when the game ends up finishing off. So late game scaling is the name of the game for JD, and if they can get to that point is a major question to me.
But they were able to do it in the last match runs, and they've shown that they're resilient, and they're tenacious in their early game play against multiple teams, especially in that last match against Suning. Suning were very strong at the early game. They were trying to make aggressive plays, maybe Hacker falling short of his Talia ganks, but Fenfen was playing well, Xiao was doing the same as well. But JD still came back towards the mid to late game. We're very strong there, and that's how they close out the match, through the late game itself.
True, but there were early game elements in their composition that made it a lot faster for them. So there were pick potential off the LeBlanc, and even though you fell behind early, if you can be creative enough with the skirmishes that you would have with these early game picks, then you could be pretty well off in the mid game. The issue here with this composition for JD is the only pick potential you have is off of your Rakan. So if Rakan is rolling out, roaming often, then you would be comfortable in looking for picks early on in the game. Other than that, you're trying to push waves consistently and hide and wait for your item points. So right now, item break points is going to be tough if it's going to be Suning Gaming that find themselves with an early lead.
Last match, we also saw AD Carry going up against AD Carry. Until this game, Fury had not played an orthodox AD Carry, only playing 1 game of Kennen, mainly going towards mages like Vladimir and Sway. Now picking up Jax in the bottom lane, Raz, going up against the Xayah Rakan combo. It's going to come out from JD. JD, on the other hand, they've been playing mostly AD carries, only a single game of Rise. Well, let's get on to the Rift for game number 2. Down. He's eaten the microphone, Raz. Suning's, the man leading the charge for Suning, was very loud in the stadium. It's not fair. If he could eat a microphone as well.
Strategically finding the microphone, always situating yourself beside that microphone, and eating the microphone. These are steps that you should be learning if you're looking at Jingdong.
Oh no. If you're looking to be like their manager and lead the cheerleading squad. There's a packed arena here today, both teams supporting the e-commerce war, and we have BLG against RG going up after this match. Let's start with game number 2 here. Hacker is going to start a red buff, but a late invade coming out from JD. They don't see them coming through the fog of war. They sweep out the wards as well. Red buff at 760 hit points. They need to get it below 400 for them to win this smite battle, but they pull it back. 2 more reset charges available to get into the bush, and Fury is going to lose vision there. Tries to tag it back for his team, but one more will reset. It goes low. Hacker picks it up. Level 2 in the Nocturne, and already a level 1 fight. Clid forced to fly. That's what he came for, which is red buff.
Yeah. Picks up red buff for himself. One thing you have to be afraid of is the combination of Jax and Shen going in for a level 1.
Ooh, and Yakao getting tagged very early on. Does tick over to level 2. Fenfed already had that stun. Can dash over to him one more time, I believe. Does so. Forces Yakao to flash away. Ignite is now ticking. Lulu! It's still going to take him very low. And Clid is here. No! Give him back his cigar, because first blood picked up by Clid.
Wasn't too far off, dealing damage to that Scuttle Crab. Scuttle Crab was feeling that breeze, and you're like, actually, I'm not. Where'd he go? Comes back after getting a kill, much stronger. So, excellent play coming out of JD, taking advantage of Fenfen's overconfidence.
There we go, that mid lane jungle synergy that we expected out of JD. Yakal sets it up, and Clid smacks it home, picking up that first kill. A little bit of recovery after losing the red buff invade up against Suning, but now he's going to try and stop his own from being taken away. Nocturne should be able to pick it up. Gets it. They're going for a fight, but Hacker, you're so low! Lethal Tempo does get procced, but Clid decides not to take the fight.
Yeah, didn't want to get feared up. The same proximity would just get demolished with the, of course, rune that Hacker has for himself. We're in a position where Clid is just getting run across in this map. Right, sure, he got the kill in the mid lane, and that's going to be excellent. If he hadn't gotten that for himself, Hacker would be so far ahead of him at this point.
We do finally get to check in with that bottom lane. Fury picking up the Jax. JD playing the Xayah Rakan combo. Even before the crazy changes we had to 80 carries and itemizations, this was already a very strong lane. One that got priority at the first level. And it's done the same thing here against the double bruiser bottom lane.
And I'm slightly afraid for Loken. I'll say this. At the very least, Mao has a dash ability to get the hell out of there. Has his flash available as well. Loken picked up Cleanse for a reason. That is double bruiser with a stun on Fury, a taunt on Shen, and when Hacker picks up level 6, he's diving straight for him. So I'm happy. I'm happy for Loken, the fact that he's picked up Xayah for ulti, that he can have some element of disengage, but they'll go straight far enough for the tower himself. So JDG as a team know that this is what Suning Gaming are looking for, and they need to play around it as a team.
I feel like I'm back in last year's meta, Raz, with the heal and support top. Xiao Ao, hello? Couldn't get past the 2 minions.
There we go.
He was creep blocked.
It's always rough when that happens. Also rougher when minions are just not sitting in the poison, so you have to actually walk back to auto attack them.
He does continue to proxy farm, however. Gets a couple of wards down deep into the red side of JD's jungle. In fact, they've lit up that side of the jungle. 3 wards being placed out in total. Fury, initiation comes out from Lima, but he sidesteps the knockup, still gets locked down by the petals, so sorry, the petals. The feathers that get ripped back by Loken.
You know what? You just gave me a skin idea for Xayah.
What's that?
A Sakura petal one. If there's ever going to be a Japanese theme for this champion, you got one for you.
What is that?
It's like tree leaves, essentially.
Tree leaves on a bird. You do know that Xayah and Rakan are the, the Runeterra version of bird human people, right?
Yeah, but skins don't have to make sense.
That's true. We do have Beekeeper Singe, who is a bee himself.
Yep.
They actually call upon Clid down into this bottom lane and help out with this push. Loken and Luma just trying to shove this one in. Fury did go back to base, picked up a Doran's Blade for himself, but again coming to the top lane. Hacker going to try and jump in. Zoom in trouble, locked down by the Guru, tries to eat an orange, but he's not carry res. He is not. Zoom gets taken down, Hacker gets the kill.
Really good setup in the top side, especially with Hacker having the information that Graves was bottom lane, knew that there was no potential for a 2v2 top. So he goes there, pre-6, gets a gank for Nocturne just because of how well it's set up by the Singed.
Singe even helps out Hacker to take the Krugs away from Clid's side of the jungle. He said during Champion Select that Suning were aggressive in the early and mid game against JD in the first match, but not enough. So immediately they pick up Nocturne as their first pick, and even before level 6, Hacker's been doing a good job with the champion, defending his own red buff, taking Clids away, and even with that top lane gank.
They have real good allocations of resources early on in the games that they have. So Hacker Not 6 yet, but if he leeches enough experience off this gank, we'll have to see if he can hit it, because usually he wouldn't go back to base off that point. He would just immediately dart towards bottom lane. So I want to see what FLICKR can do with the next 2 minutes.
Well, he's going in for the gank, but so is Clear. Yagao low on mana, but flash forward from FLICKR gets the fear as well. FunFun very low, but everyone's jumping in. Yagao still alive, shortly taken down by the shed. Clear trying to stay alive and takes down FLICKR. 1-for-1 trade. Suning started the fight, but JD cleaned it up.
It would be Lumao to match the roam of Yoon. We're always afraid of Yoon's roam, saying who's going to be able to match him every single time in the early game. It turns into a 3v1 or 3v2 mid lane, just because it's always Yoon for the first punch. But Lumao is a roaming support, so it's a great matchup to see that he was able to cash it out that early and respond in the kill.
Right after he picks up that Euclid, forced to go up against his arch nemesis, the control ward, finally kills it. Good start for JD, good counter gank coming out for them. Yagao fortunately going to fall with that gank, but at least stops the tempo for FLICKR. He ticks over to level 6, he's going to be able to pick up red buff as well.
I'd say his tempo right now is actually lethal. I'm sorry. But the fact that he has ping 6 means that the fear that we had in the bottom side of the map is alive. That Graves, even though he's pathing towards the top side to go towards his red buff, if he does do that, he leaves his bottom lane wide open for an attack. So I know when we saw Clearlove's Nocturne and EDG, that team was strong with their compositions. Once the moment they ping 6, they actually set up well enough so the Nocturne ends up bottom lane for it. So with a better team, a more coordinated team, that would be the case. Right now you can see Nocturne heading top side.
Yeah, Xiao trying to go aggressive against Clip. Blast Cone takes him back to safety. Knocks Singe down to just below half his health. FLICKR as well as FunFun rotating towards the red side of Clip's jungle, and that red buff should be his.
And he should run away. Of course, Graves going all the way back. The fact that Yoon is 6 means that he can actually leave the bottom lane as well, so that's an option. So Suning Gaming should look for many plays. Zoom underneath his own tower. Something that we should always look towards, because FLICKR can just look for a top lane play and still have the support.
I mean, you said it yourself. Gangplank is a top laner that requires a large amount of gold. His build path is very expensive. And Kleptomancy used to help him out. He used to be able to get quite a bit of gold from Kleptomancy, but you're up against a proxy farming Singed. There's not too many opportunities to proc that Keystone.
Yeah, has a lot of dive setup. So one thing that JDG did well in the champ select screen is the fact they have 2 stopwatches in their solo lane. So if that ever happens, that they will have enough time for a backup strategy. So Suning Gaming, I mean, if it's not the bottom lane that they look towards, you would have to at least have the numbers on top of their mid or top lane long enough, have it set up so if the stopwatch is used that they can still get the kill and get out of there.
Stopwatch being picked up by both Yagao as well as Zoom. But still to see any aggressive plays. JD still very comfortable farming against Suning, especially in this bottom lane. Teleport being forced by Fury. He goes back to base, picks up his ninja tabbies. It's a dive looking to be thrown in towards the top lane. Nocturne's going to get the gank on towards this Pirate, locking him down, throws out his own ultimate, uses his own stopwatch, but FLICKR gets closer to the target. Underneath the turret, has to get the Stand United as well to stay alive. Brings Yoon up into the top lane, but successful dive coming out from Suning.
Yeah, they didn't want to waste any more time. The alternative was reset aggro and have Xiao walk in first, but you could already see Lulu and Graves walking in the area. In fact, are still coming along. Wonder why.
FunFun is waiting in the wings in case Cleared as well as Yagao do rotate towards the top lane, but Suning successfully go for the dive in the top side of the map. They break a turret and pick up a nice gold lead for themselves.
Really well done. Suning Gaming recognized that they needed to get it done quickly. They are able to do so, and now they free up Xiao in that top side of the map. Can push up whenever he wants, has autonomy in the top side, red side jungle, and maybe even can come in for a flick in the mid lane. So there's a lot of options Suning Gaming have in the top side of the map.
Do they have to keep up the pressure though, Raz? Because we said they have to attack one side of the map, especially with the Nocturne ultimate. They decided to dive top lane. What's next for them? Did they have to keep putting on pressure in some lane or start to swap sides of the map almost?
They should. One thing about Nocturne is that he has windows that are very strong post 6. Before we talk about that, FenFen, get the hell out of here.
Lumao still might go for this, doesn't? Decides not to jump over the wall, but burns the flash out of FenFen.
Frog of War played a really good role. I don't know, FenFen is kind of crazy.
A little bit. He's alright.
I guess they had a ward, the control ward to catch Graves moving towards his own wolf camp, made it so FenFen recognized it was just going to be a 2v1 at best. So, alright, there was a calculation there. But yeah, to answer your question, Nocturne has small windows, but it's a very strong one. So post 6, that's when he can go off. But in larger team fights, he has problems.
Dude, where did that Shadow Dash come from? Lumel tries to run, but he's not getting away from that.
That was so well done.
Woo! Styled on him.
The moment he saw him, he was like, target acquired.
I'm upset he doesn't have the penguin dab. I normally don't enjoy that. Don't really enjoy that emote, but I think it's, for that situation, makes sense. Hacker going to try and steal blue buff away, doesn't get it.
Or Y-Force thumbs up. We just need an emote to be spammed in this game.
Please do not. Don't allow them. SMLC's already waving the white flag every chance he gets against his former team.
That's excellent.
Big play though, coming out from Yoon, is able to lock down Lumel and allow Suning to pick up a Mountain Dragon for the squad. So still picking up objectives wherever they can. Rift Herald still standing on the map as well.
One thing that I find interesting, yeah, sure, Rift Herald can be an option, but I would love for them to attack the bottom lane first. Very doable, especially with Singe clearing topside so much. Look at Zoom. So Zoom, the fact that he's trying to be as economical as possible, clearing Krugs, being under his tower, means he's essentially out of this game. He's only going to be used for his ulti until he gets enough gold for a Trinity Force, is what I'm seeing. So that makes it so much easier for Sin Gaming to all in on a play. That's why I say bottom lane, then they can shift towards the top side to get Rift Herald. So that would be the ideal strategy.
It's a much different game for Xiao Ao as well, who's taken down 3 times very early into the match by JD. This time he has 3 assists, 3 stacks on both his Dark Seals, as well as a Rylai's Crystal Scepter being picked up first. Not going for the Shrelis, not going for the boost of movement speed or the Banner of Command. Just want to slow people down. It makes sense, but you've got 5 bruises. The more crowd control you can throw in, the better.
Yeah, and maybe they just decide to play towards the top side, have enough damage down on Zoom.
Gank in the mid lane, however, Clit is here for the counter gank. Immediately, Lulu ultimate comes out, Gangplank ultimate being thrown out. Shen's gonna try and get there, but Clit pops in with the shotgun. Fen trying to collapse, Xiao trying to get close underneath this tower, but good slow coming out through Yagao. Stops the V-Keeper from getting any further forward. Great counter gank coming out from JD.
Yeah, and a super effective stopwatch. Xiao and Fen are still pressuring forward. They still may be able to take this tower down. But ultimately, that was JDG finding themselves in a poor position and making the best out of it, taking a kill off of it. So really well done from both Yagao and Clit.
And we're seeing both sides of Yagao in this best of 3 series. The first game was when he tries to pull out a carry champion and carries the game for his squad. This time he set up Clit for success. The mid lane jungle synergy is something we always talk about when it comes to Jindong. And again, doing so well in this match. 0-1-3, but setting up Clit for a 3-0-0 start after not that great of a start invading against Hacker's jungle.
It's always what we want to see coming out of Graves, because in this meta we've seen 2 types of Graves. The gold funneling Graves that has the Black Cleaver and Phantom Dancer super early on in the game with the amount of farm that you get. Or this one, the Graves I expected in the meta, which is I just pressure, I counter gank consistently. I don't have the damage early on in the game, but my mid game's poor. Okay, get this one and go.
He got the Rift Herald, he's going to get feared, however. Hacker still trying to chase, he can't get over the wall, and he gets a shutdown as well. 3-2-1 on this Nocturne. Now Loken as well as Lumel might be in some trouble. Shadow Dash, Yoon, you looked so good earlier. How did you miss that one? Point blank, can't get the Shadow Dash now.
You got a proper goal.
That's good.
That's my analyst on that one.
That's your analyst?
It's my analyst. You expected proper words to come out of me, but you expected wrong.
Yoon is Raz's analyst. I think he's the support for Sunny. Did miss that. Setting up for a cheeky fight in the bottom lane doesn't work out. No teleport available for Loken or Lumel means that it's going to be difficult for them to get back into this bottom lane, and that's starting to switch in favor of the Bruisers here.
It should have switched much earlier, I'm not going to lie. Sin Gaming are playing really poorly after they took the top lane tower, because Nocturne, for whatever reason, I understand that he was looking towards Rift Herald there. Lost it out very early on, but pressuring topside when GP is not leaving that tower is a poor allocation of resources. Going towards Lulu consistently? What the hell? I actually am so upset.
He's still gonna go. He's going! There was a buff recently. It means Hacker can still get that ultimate off. Yagao thought he was safe, but he is not in that situation. So didn't get another kill.
Okay, so they still get it. You're right about the 6-second buff, so it's just up for so much longer. But what are they gonna get out of this? They have to stick around for the tower. Honestly, please do so. He's leaving. Fish.
Peace.
Why is he leaving?
He gave Lulu nightmares, and that's about it, Rez.
The game is more than just about kills. If he had went bottom lane with the Shen, Jax, and a Fen who was pushing lane anyways, this tower would have been done, and they can look towards mid so much quicker. But he is just focused on getting a mid lane kill on towards a Lulu. Takes a lot of effort. I mean, he still got it at the end of the day. He almost died off of it off the tower.
Definitely not a nightmare, just a daydream there, Rez. As he heads back into his jungle, continues farming back up. 3-2-2. It's a good start for the Nocturne, but you're right, doesn't get too much for that. Mid lane turret is very low, however.
This is a problem that we see from Suning Gaming whenever they have an early game advantage. They have a 3k gold lead, and it feels like it's a 1k gold lead. So even though I'm being heavily critical towards the team, last split it was the same name, same game, where they just lose gold leads because they try and get a kill, but they don't see the larger picture.
This has also been very common from JD. I believe they've been just under 1,000 gold behind at 15 against most of their matches in the summer split. Bear in mind, this team is currently positive in terms of their wins.
It's the same case in Spring Split as well. They always found themselves in just being able to take gold leads later on, so it's interesting that that's the case.
Always trying to go towards that late game. I mean, they have a negative 74 gold per minute differential, so even though they've been winning, hasn't been looking good, but this could be a big brawl. Mouth of Dragon's taken out. Luma doesn't tag anyone up with its ultimate or his knockup. Suning can try and capitalize on that. Fun's going to be the first one to dive in. Darkness hits the rift, doesn't do too much, and Nocturne decides not to fly in. They disengage, don't go for the find, they're pinging out mid lane instead.
Yeah, they may be able to get this.
Ooh, Xiao Ao looking for a pick, throws down the goo, but doesn't get too much.
But what they will get is the bottom lane tower because of how many people from JD have moved top side. So even though it looks like they're gearing up to defend mid lane, Jax should be able to finish off the bottom lane tower. So ultimately, it's Suning Gaming taking a lot of resources out of JD, but also getting this tower for themselves.
Yeah, Lumao's engage was critical there, but unfortunately doesn't get it. Cannon Barrage comes out from Gangplank, actually trims out the entire way. Fury, that's not how Counter-Strike works, but he still takes down the turret anyway. JD to respond by throwing Rift Herald down in the mid lane. Looking to try and charge and pick up a turret for themselves, trade back against Suning. 2 turrets to none, but probably not going to be able to march Shelly all the way in. They get the eye proc as well, so not a full charge coming out from Rift Herald.
Okay, so it turns into an investment for JD. If they ever get a team fight win, then they can turn that into a mid lane tower. But you're right, it doesn't turn into anything. So Suning Gaming still come at a massive lead just off that skirmish.
Looks like Kud's going to finally be able to pick up his own red buff as well. Hacker was tormenting him for most of this match. Does pick it up, 1-0-8. Graves slightly behind his CS against Hacker and a level behind, so Suning definitely have much more pressure in the jungle for this match. Fun hasn't got the solo kill that we saw from him earlier, but no major botched plays either.
With the bases coming across, this is when I would usually look towards the control wards being picked up from both teams. Right now it's a little rougher for Suning Gaming because some items are just taking that spot. Looking at Fury and Xiao Ao in particular.
Ooh, okay. Another one! He's looking for the second dash forward, doesn't get it. This time Lumao doesn't get the reinitiation either, but good lockdown as Loka rips all the feathers back. Yun decides to teleport about, about 4 Teemos wide, but again, another botched engage, this time coming out from Suning. No one from JD dies.
And just didn't have the members available for that one. So, just didn't have the numbers. Looked like it was just impulsive. I wonder if they get anything else off of it, because let's say, no, actually there's a lot of members on JD's side that are still incredibly healthy, so the wards should still be contested. Unless this dive comes across.
This turret is very low. Cleared, might be the target. Dashes over the wall, gets back to safety, but Suning attack the turret. Take it down. All the outer turrets on JD's side of the map are now gone. And that's a 5,000 gold lead for Suning.
There we go. Now Suning can actually play towards Baron's side a little bit more aggressively. Let's say the fact that they have double Trinity Force, even an AP top laner, they can burn it fairly quickly. I wonder what Fury ends up building for himself, because one of the Jax build that I really love recently has been going towards Guinsoo's and Essence Reaver, just because you get Counter-Strike a second or a third time in team fights. It comes up so quickly.
Many times.
It's so fun to watch. Get to see, I would say 957 do it in the second game of the split. So
got a highlight out of it as well, killing an AD carry from 100 to nothing during the duration of a Counter-Strike.
That's true.
But yeah, Gal's going to be the target in mid lane. Cannon Barrage comes out, but only slows down Fin for a while. Night was ticking, but Clear decides not to go any further forward. Quite frankly, a poor ultimate coming out from Zoom there. Not enough rum for this Pirate, it seems. Or maybe too much.
Trying to be as defensive as possible. Whenever you see Fen goes in, he's like, all right, I'll help you out. All he wants to do is get to his third item. He has a longsword, so maybe it's going to be a Youmuu's Ghost Blade.
He has done well, though. He's already got his Sterix Gauge as well as Trinity Force complete.
That's
Neither Irelia nor Jax actually have that item. So despite the bad start, he's been doing good, but a Nocturne's looking for the gank here. Xiao gets into vision range, and is now 2-on-1. Good damage going down to this Pirate. Pops the Sterix Gauge, but he's got nowhere to run. Tries, he gets, oh my god! You gotta be kidding me! Captain Jack Sparrow, is he? Because he gets the kill on a 2-on-1, and the rest of JD want revenge. They want to take down this Beekeeper. Xiao Ao's trying to run away. Teleport's coming in towards the top lane. Ultimate being used by Logan. Doesn't pull the feathers back, doesn't get the lockdown. But my god, Zoom, what a play.
That was so sick. It was off of Sterix Gauge we were talking about. He got it for himself, and that proved to be crucial. Being able to just chip down Hacker. Doesn't have any HP to his name.
That is a big squid.
It's a cute one, too.
Big cute squid coming out for Yakao top lane. We saw another one-on-one there, but back to that play. Fantastic play. Capitalize on a poor situation. So they just trade kills in the end. Get to look at it again.
So Hacker uses his max range ulti, gets the vision on him. So this is where I'm worried about, because the moment Sterix Gauge procs in, look at how much damage Hacker takes and how much time Zoom actually buys to get the second rotation of his barrel infused. So really well done from Zoom to buy time.
He almost got out as well, but poison was a little bit too much, and the slow coming out from Singe kept him locked down. Shirelia is also getting Singe in range to make sure he can get the ultimate off for Hacker. Still no Sterix being picked up by either Fen or Fury.
This is when the gold lead starts leaking. This is my issue now.
We talked about this earlier.
If Suning Gaming making poor plays to try and get Xiao ahead, they need to be playing and speeding up the game, play towards Baron. But even if they do that, with how much gold they've been losing out now, they go towards Baron, my problem is how easy it is for JD to control the fight. The slow from GP ulti. Of course, multiple stuns that Xayah can use because she's great in terms of disengaging a fight. So
we've got to watch this fight though, Raz. Another fight around Dragon. Hacker has a big flank. Very squishy Nocturne, however. Has to be careful. Xiao looking to try and jump in. Fury gets in there first. Ducks hits the rift and he jumps back in. Stopwatch being used for the fight. Not looking too good for Suning so far. The Pirate gets in the backside. Fury will get that first kill. Zoom not going to join the fight. Fury falls. Loka staying alive. Gets away from the Singe, but he's a madman. Flakes him back. Sets it up for Fen. Gets the slam dunk. Alley-oop for Suning, and they're not done just yet. Zoom did so well in that 2-on-1, but the collapse and the Quadra coming out from Fen. Fantastic play from Suning.
There was no control there from JDG. You talked about it. Hacker was at a flank and a proper stun from Fury to start the fight off. So where does JDG even go? I mean, sure, they went down, but a lot of their players fell before it even started. Yoga had to use his ultimate on himself. That's the moment that happened, it was rough sailings for JDG.
Certainly was. Big team fight, back and forth. JD looked good for them to start, but the initial stun coming out from Fury has caused a whole lot of problems.
So many threats on opposite side. From the right side, it was Fury with his flank. On the left side, it was Nocturne coming in with his Nocturne ulti, and so it was so tough for the members of JDG to even look for a cohesive member. So at the very least, I would say they got 2 members out of that fight. A third one, I'd say, went to GP a lot of the times. Triple kill for him, that's nice, if he can make up for it in the next fight.
Yoon as well was with another fantastic Shadow Dash flash. I believe he taunted 2 to 3 members of JD in that fight. But Lumos looked a little bit questionable on this Rakan. I mean, quite a few times using the ultimate early before going for the initiation, not pulling the trigger. Fell pretty quickly in that fight, but did get a good initiation to try and stop the gank coming out from Hacker. Going for the Athenes first on his Rakan.
Very squishy.
Oh yeah, he gets blown up, and it's a full melee composition coming out from City.
Yeah, that's my interesting. You would expect a Zeke's coming out of him, especially alongside a Xayah, so you can empower her. Her fights are a little bit hectic right now because she doesn't have any members she can focus on. So you're right, this is getting really difficult for JDG because you would expect them, sure, if it's a front-to-back team fight, they can control the fight a little bit more with the slows that they have. but Sunny Gaming have recognized that and really taken them down in flank. So it's getting a little bit more. JDG needs to slow it down a little bit more. They have 3 control wards to their name. Right now, I'd love if Yagao went back so they can have a 4th one. Has too many components. If I was him, I'd just sell the potion.
They're also 7,000 gold behind Sunny. Even though JDR is trying to scale into the late game, they've got a Gangplank, they have a Zaya. It's a little bit too big of a, or too large of a gold lead, I should say. Sunny have done a good job of making sure the early game and mid game count so that they are ahead of JD.
I would say one item I would want to see, Fury's building towards it. Once he gets Guinsoo's, then it becomes a really difficult game. Sure, Fen has Guardian Angel and makes it so he can enter fights a little bit more easily without the fear of being taken down from the get-go. But once Fury can actually consistently put down incredible damage output, then JD needs to be a lot more creative in how the fights go from this point forward.
That's the insurance policy coming out from Sunny. But for the next fight, they already have 2 Guardian Angels available as well. Difficult for JD to deal with, because that last fight was fairly close. Only 2 members from Sunny left up, and Loken almost got out as well. If they killed Xiao a little bit quicker, they would not have been able to fling the AD carry back into the team. Loken probably could have stuck around for the remainder of that fight.
There are just too many threats, because even in that case, you see how Fury was playing out that fight. Same goes for Fen. There are too many backline dives that Loken needs to be afraid of. So if he has Cleanse, that's great, but doesn't have the flash just yet.
That's how you used to play Jax compositions. When Jax was played in the top lane, you'd play it with multiple threats so that you can't just focus out the Jax. Now you've got an Irelia, a Nocturne, even a Singe. Good draft coming out from Sunny. They've played around it fairly well. Now I'm curious to see how JD try and find their way back to the match. Difficult, though, for them to do so.
Yeah, I mentioned that I would like to see Yagao getting a control ward for them because they do need to play defensively from this point forward. Look at the Baron being picked up. The control right now is heavily in favor of Sunny Gaming. They need to get some control around the red side jungle so they can contest around Baron vision.
But neither team really moving towards that Baron buff just yet. Xiao Ao is still in the bottom lane. Hacker is waiting in his back pocket in case he can find a gank. Onto Zoom. Didn't work out too well for Nocturne last time. Must be feeling a bit more confident with the Guardian Angel being picked up.
That's true.
But neither team really attacking the Baron just yet. Wards being cleared out by Yoon in the Baron pit itself.
That's what makes Sunny Gaming a different team. Personally, I would say it's a worse team when it comes towards the 30-minute mark. Because, yeah, you would play towards Xiao, and Xiao has had such a phenomenal week 1 and 2. But at this point in the game, you want to speed it up. Why would you slow the game down by looking for a mistake on Zoom rather than trying to play towards Baron? He's made up for that, and now he's around Baron. But he's not there when a wave was being pushed mid, and he wasn't there when they were pushing into the red side jungle to clear out wards.
Well, so they tried that. It didn't work out, so now it seems that's what they're going to do, Rez. Set up around the Baron buff. Everyone who's sitting is here. And they can't see any of them. This is scary. Lumao's going to step up. Xiao Ao looking for the play. Jumps over the wall, gets back to safety. Xiao Ao tries to collapse into the bush. Knocked back. I believe he used his Shirelia's there. And his ultimate. So crucial cooldowns being burnt by Sunny to start this. But Baron has been started, Russ.
There we go. I mean, they need to at least push Xiao Ao back before they even can contest this.
His ultimate's going to wear off. That Shirelia is not going to be available for this fight. Sunny decide to disengage away from Baron. Bottom lane is pushing in favor of JD, but there's still an outer turret available for Sunny to defend against that wave.
The difference between Game 1 and Game 2 is that the Baron control, the team that has it doesn't have a dedicated tank. Sunny Gaming have a lot of bruisers, but they don't have a dedicated tank. You'd say Yoon, but of course he has a support item, so he doesn't really have the ability to just tank out Baron for a long amount of time. So Sunny Gaming are, I would say, fast to the punch. Whenever they see someone walking towards them and contesting, they leave Baron immediately because they don't want to be holding on Baron aggro for that long.
They go back to base, pick up a few items. Like Guinsoo's Rage Blade is now complete for Fury. Going towards the Warden's Mail next. So he's already got that. Randuin should be his pickup of choice. Irelia doing the same build. just with a Guardian's Angel instead of that Quintus. Knight's Vow even being complete by Yoon.
Uh-oh.
It's a deep flank. Logan should be the target here. Barrels are being set up by Zoom. Xiao jumps in, but teleport doesn't get him anything except for getting closer to the fight.
He definitely tried his hardest. Bottom lane's getting pinged out. I think that's a banner minion from
Yep,
Sunning
there
Gaming.
is a banner minion there.
There we go. Starting to catch these icons out. Means that Sunning Gaming should just start it. I think that minion is in a really good spot.
They should. Sunning will start this Baron, it seems. Zoom does have teleport available, but it is a gangplank teleport. A champion that normally needs setup for these fights. Baron's already down very low, throws out the ultimate, and the darkness stops anyone from getting into the back lines of the pit. Yoon tries to jump in, but Hacker's going to go through as well with the Stand United for a big shield. Going to fall nice and early, but that's Guardian Angel. However, Lulu already being popped, but jumped into the fight. Now Xiao just running amok. Logan forced the flash over the wall, dies to the poison. So many kills being picked up by this gangplank. So many being picked up by the Singe as well. And Sunning successfully pick up the Baron and a team fight.
They're just going to go straight for this one. Remember, they have one more TP. Fury's going to use it. This could be an end game.
Oh, stop it. Hello?
He could just stop it.
What are you doing?
I'm upset.
I am upset by that as well. With that, Sunning going to march super minions in towards the base. The recalls are going to come out. Lu Mao is there. Zoom is here as well, trying to defend this base. And they should be able to fight another day against Sunning. If they can clear up that banner minion at the back, the cannon does good work against the turrets, takes down one.
The call is just to stand by because 14 seconds for Loken and Yagao. They're confident they can hold on to it. Sunning Gaming are just going to take turrets out there. So you know what? Okay, I can understand it. Lu Mao is like, I need to go back to base too. If I cancel him, I'm dead. So he just wanted to take the safer approach. But taking a look at this, the dive coming in from all of Sunning Gaming on towards Flint was exceptional. And you can see Singe running rampant, in and out, getting the pick on towards Lulu, running through. That's a fast, I'll just say about a word. That's a fast man. That is a fast mother lover. That is running through that.
He's a beekeeper, Raz. He's really quick.
He is a fast. He's, he's Sonic fast. They need a hedgehog skin for him.
Please don't give him any more crazy skins.
Please give him this one.
It was a good fling onto Yagao as well, throwing him straight into the fight. Yes, he got his spell rotation off, but enough to protect the rest of the team. JD now 12,000 gold behind Sunning. Sunning really want to send this to a game number 3, and if they keep at it, should be the case.
They need to stand their ground at the inhibitor top side, because that's a banner minion that you're not going to be able to deal with. For this tower, you don't have the support, so you need to basically just can this tower. You can't deal with it. But for the next one, you do not want 2 inhibitors from both bottom lane and top lane being down. You need to be able to defend this. They don't have Graves though, this is a problem.
So Xiao tries to jump in, cannon barrage being thrown out nice and early. Fun gonna throw his Defiant Dance out. Loken looking for the fight. Disarm not gonna come through as he uses his ultimate to try and jump away, but good double stun coming through. Hacker diving into Yagao. Lu Mao's the first one to fall in this fight. JD wants to defend this inhibitor, but they only lose a member in doing so. Base has been broken once again, and Sunning just looks so strong.
I don't know why Sunning are basing right now. They just looked to end the game. I mean, even though it was just Lu Mao, they can hold on for the bottom lane wave that was just about to come through, but I guess they're playing it safe.
Goodbye.
See you next time.
Going back home, picking up a few more items before they push for that final inhibitor turret. Even Banner of Command being used again onto a cannon minion. 30 seconds of Baron buff left. Sunning might not be able to march it there. Hacker being caught out by Clid. But doesn't take too much damage. Zoom's almost at 6 items as well, Raz. He's sitting on the final component. So close for him scaling into the late game. Sunning are just so far ahead at this point. 13,000 gold up.
Yeah, that's the problem with GP, and even though he's a strong pick, the rest of your map falls behind this early on. 35 minutes is fairly long for the games that we see in the meta. So he was finally online, but at this point in the time, he needs to find a miracle team fight.
He does. I mean, Infinity Edge, Essence Breather, and Phantom Dancer have been picked up by Loken, but even that's not enough to protect him against the 5 bruises that keep flying his way. Lu Mao's been the sacrificial lamb a couple of times. Ardent Senses being picked up by Yagao to try and support the AD carry. Both the AD carries say, even with Clid picking it up in the jungle. Playing Graves this time around. Stopwatch being picked up by Graves too.
And now at this point in the game, you really do need a miracle. You have multiple bruisers on the side of Sunning Gaming that can just stick to the side lane. So I'm surprised it's just Nocturne for bottom lane.
The sad thing is Zoom has 6 items. So even though JD are 12,000 gold behind, a lot of their gold is being funneled onto this gangplank. And he's Loken, cleared as well as Yagao. The 3 other members are meant to deal damage and keep their AD carries alive. They're even further behind the squad from Suning. Setting up for this mid lane push. No Baron buff available, but top side and bottom side inhibitor have been taken down. Fury's actually just marching minions into the base.
That's what they should be doing bottom lane, but Irelia has been holding true mid. They can only really take use of that top lane wave to go for this.
Yun, another Shadow Dash flash coming out, but only locks down to support. Ultimate being thrown out by Zaya. Luma actually kills Hacker. Good start of the fight for JD. Xiao's going to be the next target. How are they doing this? They keep the AD carry alive. Funfun in trouble, but they lose their inhibitor turret again. Still chasing down the Aurelia. Glid trying to dash forward. Fury looking for the counter strike. Stun comes through, pops the stopwatch. Zoom still alive, still dealing a lot of damage. Loken with good damage as well. How the heck have JD done this? They turn around a team fight. 13,000 gold behind Suning.
All right, we've signed ourselves up for a very long game. JD are so confident now with both GP and the Zaya coming back. And honestly, that was just poorly played from Suning Gaming. We already talked about the fact that they had the top lane rolling, but they just completely abandoned their bottom lane. If you have 2 inhibitors down, have the Irelia push bot. Force the minions in. But they had Nocturne do it. Nocturne couldn't take on Zoom, so they tried to dive essentially with just 1 minion's lane. Wait a minute.
Ooh, hello.
Where you going, son?
Fury actually looking to try and see if it collapses on towards Loken. Yagao is here. Loken has the support of Lulu. Teleport's coming as well. Uses the cleanse. Locks him down. Yagao turns him into a little critter. And goodbye, Fury. That's why AD carries don't understand how to use teleport, because they jump into silly situations.
55 seconds worth of death timers. This game looks so good for Suning, but we're realistically in a position, if they just lose 1 more fight, they will lose the game. It doesn't matter how many towers you have available. So take a look at this. So this dive comes through, and the Nocturne immediately gets blown up because he went so far in towards the back, no one was going to be able to support him. So he goes down, Sha'al goes down. That's 2 members down before you even take anyone down or chip them out in fight. So at this point, JD can actually slowly take it back, pipe back, and then look forward for the next kill. So Hacker was a madman.
It's still a 10,000 gold lead for Suning at this point in the match, but now 5 items complete for Loken. Even a redemption being picked up by Yagao. Baron's up. Fury's still dead. That's 9 seconds on this Jax without teleport.
Yeah, they can rush it. They can be confident about the team fight to follow that.
Funfun's coming in with a teleport. Yoon is looking to see if he can go for the flank. Hacker has ultimate available, can go for the steal. Can he take it? He gets it! Oh my god, Hacker jumps in with the paranoia, causes nightmares for everyone inside of JD. They will kill the Nocturne, but Baron buff picked up for 4 members of Suning.
And they will take it and leave. JDG right now are in disaster mode. 54 seconds death timer on Hacker. They want to fight immediately.
Well, they want this Elder Dragon, but look at Fury. Fury and Xiao say, okay, you want Elder Dragon? We'll go towards the base. JD gonna start it. Baron buff is on Suning. This is gonna be a race for the base here, Raz.
Just 1 Nexus turret up and available. If they can stop the base timing of JD, they can actually just win the game themselves.
They have to stop it though. 8 seconds. Fury and Xiao Cannon Barrage comes out. They stopped it. Only Clid is going to head back to base. Only Zoom's going to get there.
That's not enough.
1 Nexus turret. There is Clid getting back there. Yagao's going to try cut this one out. Base Gate keeps him in, gets some access, but this Nexus going solo. Fury's on top of it. Look at Jax go. Smacks it with his little lantern. And JD, they're going to lose this match. Suning tie it up 1-1.
1 Baron steal, and that's how it ends it. That was it. JD were pressured to do something because losing Baron when they still had 2 inhibitors down was a nightmare mode situation, and it was that nightmare of Nocturne that really ended it.
Ooh, Hacker with the steal.
That boy is mad. Look,
what a legend.
He needed to do that. I'm going to be honest. He needed to do that to repair the few mistakes he made this early on in that game. But my god, that was beautiful.
That was game over. If he didn't steal Baron there, that was probably game over.
Yes.
Going to Jinder. Hacker would have died. 4-on-4, no jungler, Elder Dragon coming up.
Whew. It's so hilarious. Look at the gold lead that we have here for Suning Gaming. They've had a gold lead for 8 minutes into the game. But they should have lost it because of what happened mid-game.
Mid-game? I don't think we call 35 minutes
mid-game
anymore.
Late game. You know, it's late game. We'll give it late game. So it was late game. They lose the team fight. Zaya's online, finally has at the very least 60% crit, so she can deal damage to the bruisers in front of her. So that's what they needed to finally come back in this one. And it didn't happen because of that shenanigans.
Took them some time, but their late game insurance of Loken almost paid off for JD. The score is now tied up 1-1 in the e-commerce war to break down that last game. Let's send it back to the analyst desk.
Break it down, Fish. Break down what? The base race at the very end? Do you want the defense? Do you want the team fight? Do you want the steal? Like, what? How should we do this?
Look,
like, there's the conventional approach where we start from the beginning and we explain how we got there. But
I'm trying really hard to be nice to them, Dom. That's what we're gonna do, because I'm gonna look at this game big picture first, and I'm just gonna say that Suning Gaming should have lost that because it took them too long to end the game. But JD should have lost a lot sooner as well. So this is one of those moments where it's 1-1 in a series, but I feel like it's a 2-0 to JD that they just got taken away from them. But it's also a 2-0 that they shouldn't have because of their draft. And that is the place that I want to start this conversation. Because frankly, they just picked scaling in every single position with an early game that was called invading and not getting the buff, so they lost the early game. They were waiting for late game from 2 minutes in.
Yeah.
They picked a Gangplank top lane against the Singed. Singed got unlocked, he got a turret. Would you believe it? Singed is winning the game by himself.
Yeah.
And it takes 20 minutes to scale.
And then he started roaming around the map, pressuring behind the mid-tier 1 to force Yagao out of position, pressuring bottom lane to try and force that Loken and Lumao out of position. That's the terror of what happens when Xiao Al gets a few kills under his belt and he's able to get unlocked.
Yeah, and when you think about this draft in direction to these teams, of course, if you pick a Gangplank into a Singed against Xiao Al, you're going to have Hacker come up there and he's going to camp your lane. They're going to get Xiao resources, and we've seen it proven time and again from Suning Gaming that they'll win through that strategy, that it is a very effective way for them to be successful. So I am mostly confused as to why they went for the Gangplank specifically and chose to draft the way they did.
Yeah.
In the end, it's still not that bad of a result. It could have been a win, but could have been a lot better.
Yeah, we do have to talk about how it's not just that one mistake, though. It seems like it was a couple of compound mistakes from JD to make that happen. Like you said, not only did they pick the scaling composition, but they also tried to take fights with Suning when they were at 1 item, maybe 1.5, on a scaling composition when they were already behind in gold against an unlocked Suning.
Yeah, and I will speak towards, again, they understood their win conditions. They did acknowledge that they were late game and that they were trying to scale. And you're absolutely right. Through the fight that happens at the Dragon, I believe it is as well, they take it just 1 item too early. They look for the fight just 5 minutes maybe too soon. And from this point, you could see the makings of it. You could see the damage that they're able to output and the potential kills that will come across for JD in the future. But because this is 5 minutes too soon, the bruisers just walk over them, and it looks like a pretty comprehensively won fight. And even then, JD are good enough individual players, Zoom namely getting this keg off here to make the trades and have a close to even fight.
Massive performance out of Zoom to try and answer it back. Of course, Fen still showing up really big on the Aurelia over the course of the fights too. But again, yes, you're right. They recognize their composition for JD to sit back and try and play defensive. I feel like maybe they could learn a few things from old WE, the actual Turtle team, the team that, quote-unquote, loses gracefully. Instead of committing a full 5-man for the objective, send 1 for the steal, drop a ward on top of it, and try to not hemorrhage as opposed to just giving over a paper cut.
Yeah, I think for this game, it was more so just a level 1 decision that they chose to make. They brought their bottom lane in, and that's fairly justified because they wanted the crowd control. But the differences that they could have done here to change things is they had a Lulu in the mid lane that usually has a decent amount of push, a decent amount of control. And Graves should be able to clear at the same speed as a Nocturne, but that means you should get the 2v2. You should be able to pressure in the skirmishes. This time around, they sent everything towards a smite contest in a 50-50, and it's not even really 50-50. It was just chaos because there's 3 people everywhere waiting for a smite bait from the other team.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that was the biggest deterrent of all that slowed the game down. I think that's what they should have looked at.
Yeah, and of course we do now have that fight at the Baron, which Suning was able to take. They cleared out the vision, pulled JD out of position in this scaling fight, and then it looked a little good for JD once they got into the corridor, but Xiao Al with the fling over the wall separates one of the supports away from that Xayah.
Yeah, they split the Lulu away from the carries, Zoom and the Xayah, of course, of Loken. So being able to fling like that, Xiao Al shows once again that he's got the target selection, they've got the team fight awareness, and Also, just the fling going over the wall was pretty nasty.
Yeah, absolutely. And the damage for the team in order to follow up after the Baron take and continue to snowball. At that point already, you could see there was a gold advantage, and it was an easy chase down for Suning. But we do have to talk about MVP, because after that point, JD had found a fight in their base, which they won and defended. And it was a Baron steal from FLICKR on that Nocturne that prevented JD from coming back. 3, 7, and 10. Not the best scoreline that you want your Nocturne to have, especially with only 20% damage share. But the Baron steal under Paranoia while flying in.
I think it's fair. I think it's also that he set up the early game, and that was what was required of him, right? The team was the thing that blundered in the mid game and gave opportunities to JD. Not even the mid game, 35 minutes in, late game. But for all of the early game strengths that Suning Gaming had, FLICKR was the large part of that. He unlocked the top lane Singe to go to the rest of the map. He was the major part of this. And this steal, he does die for it, but he dies for a very good cause. The lack of empowered recalls that JD had lost them the game.
That was an early smite from Clid, just keeping an eye on the cooldowns. At 1,500 health, he went for the smite, dropped it to 850, and then FLICKR came in with the final 850 damage to lock it down. What a steal. Now the series is all evened up. This is the e-commerce wars. We're going to game 3, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go and take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
枢纽队员不会为遗憾找借口，必须变强，必须进步。